Alright guys, and now we're back with the showdown between the Warriors of Chaos, who shall be led by Collect Suneater, and the Dinosaurs, who shall be helmed by the glorious Tiqtaq'to, and I think it's going to be his debut here on the channel. I don't think I've used him yet, and I don't think we've had any replays with the man himself, so let's have some fun, guys. So as far as the build goes, it's going to be very heavily focused at taking out Temple Guards. You can see here we have two groups of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. These guys are pretty good against big dinos, not as good against the flying Terran Riders and Pterodactyls and things like that, or Ripperdactyls, Pterodactyls, oh my god. But nonetheless, they can still kind of counter them a little bit, not like, you know, they're not going to win in a straight up skirmishing fight, but at least you can kind of chase them and pressure them, so it gives you some tools against the flying Air Force. But nonetheless, throwing axes are typically more designed against like the bigger targets, like Stegodons and Bastillodons, and you know, those big, thick targets. So we're going to see how these throwing axes do. Hopefully they're able to kind of counter skirmish and get some jumps on the Powhawks of Sentinels, but it looks like he does have the Clossodon Hunters. Tiqtaq'to has a pretty scary little Air Force here. On top of that, we have a front line of the Marauders with great weapons. So the Chaos Marauders with great weapons, pretty good against Temple Guard. I mean, just a volume thing. They have a high model count, they have decent AP, and yes, Temple Guard will win 1-1, but over the course of a long grindy fight, they can put some damage on them and kind of soften them up a little bit for the Chariots to come in and finish them off. So 4 groups of the Chaos Marauders with great weapons here in the front line, 2 groups of Chariots in the back. So the Chariots are very good against the Dinosaur Infantry. Now, of course, they're going to get pounded by anything with any mass, but in case your opponent does go very heavy with mass, I already have a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth plus Kolek plus a Deathcaster, so we're going to be pretty good fighting that big monster fight. So the Chaos Chariots are there to help us win the infantry fight, which is usually pretty hard against the Dinos, actually. Temple Guard are very cost effective, and of course they have Red Crested Skinks and a bunch of neutral units. So the Chaos Chariots going to be going after Skinks, rear charging Saurus, trying to just cause pressure, and you don't really need Gorby's Chariots, even if they have Temple Guard. I feel like these ones just do the trick. We do have a Hell Cannon in the back as well, so Hell Cannon is something I've been bringing because pretty much every single dinosaur player I played against has brought the Star Chamber Guardians or Temple Guard of some variant against Chaos. So having a Hell Cannon I think is quite good. However, King of the Dead with a very wild build, so he has a huge Air Force, no Temple Guard, just Saurus Warriors over there, and some Skinks. So we're going to see how effective the Hell Cannon is going to be. Probably not as good, but hopefully still give me some value. Got some Halberds in the back, a Deathcaster, and of course you saw our Shaggoth leadership. And now for the armies of King of the Dead. Terran Riders, the Powhawks of Sentinels, which are actually really good at counter skirmishing things like Centaurs, and a standard Marauder, or Marauder Horseman throwing axes. Now, Marauder Horse Masters are actually quite good against Pterodon Riders because they have good range, more direct fire arcs, and they do more damage, but yeah, I do like the Pterodon Riders. I think they're going to be very good at kind of poking down my Marauder Horsemen. He does also have the Clossodon Hunters, so these things are beastly. I've actually done some testing with them against like what are those things called? The Necrosphinxes and, you know, the Sphinx of Usef, and these guys can just take them to town. Yes, they'll take some damage themselves, but if you get a good jump on a big armored target with the Toad Rage popped, these guys will just wreck house. They do so much damage, it's pretty crazy. On top of that, we got Tiqtaq'to. He's looking quite majestic here on his Pterodon. Now, what are his damn abilities? I don't see him too often. So Master of the Skies is going to give melee defense, putting him up to like, yeah, just that's over 100. That's pretty crazy. Deadly Onslaught, and he does have the drop Sphere of Tiqtaq'to, which I think centers armor. No, it looks like it just does a ton of damage. As far as items go, he does have the Blade of the Ancient Skies, so it just gives him just all kinds of juicy stats. And of course the Mask of the Heavens, which, man, he has a lot of really powerful auras. That's super solid. So it only buffs flying units, but if you have your Pterodon Riders and other stuff in a Goon Squad, Tiqtaq'to is pretty neat. I gotta give him a try. I actually always forget to download the free LCs when stuff comes out, so that's probably why I haven't gotten around to it. But yeah, that's pretty solid. In the front line here, we have Skink Cohort, Saurus. We have an Ancient Salamander, going to be very good against Chaos Infantry and stuff like that. In the back, we do have the Umbral Tide, so the Umbral Tide anti-large. And yeah, going to be pretty solid against the Shaggoths. They do have stock as well, I believe, in Perfect Vigor. So these guys certainly bring some pretty good tools to the table here. And another group of the Salamander Hunting Packs. So yeah, it's going to be 2 Salamander Hunting Packs, one of them being the Arwar, a standard Ancient Sally, and a bunch of infantry, but really the core of this army is the Air Force. So on that note, guys, let's get the show on the road and do it to it. So the Hell Cannon shot coming in, getting a decent little shot against these Saurus here. It looks like it does take out 5 models, which isn't bad. And I am able to get a little bit of a counter push right here, pushing back the Powhawks of Sentinels using my Marauder Horsemen. I'm just trying to screen. I know it's not going to be the best trade because he's actually focusing my Marauders and just beating up my infantry, but at least I'm getting some value with my Hell Cannon, so it's not a complete wash. In the meantime, we are going to be summoning, or he's going to be summoning a Manticore, so adding even more to the Air Force of what's his name, Tiqtaq'to. I'm so not used to seeing him, so I got to get that name, or just start remembering it, right? So the Hell Cannon does get a decent shot here on the Salamander Hunting Pack, it looks like, or at least graze him, but I actually didn't do any damage, so not so decent. And the Manticore is probably going to be going after my Caster and my Infantry. No, it's actually going to be jumping on the Marauder Horseman and throwing axes, so this is going to be able to potentially tear out these guys. So I do grab my Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, I get in there, and I start, just gorilla pounding this guy, so we should be able to take him out pretty quick. Man, Shaggoths are going to beat up Manticore very, very heavily. Kolek does also get a jump on the Skink Priest with B, so we try to get a free charge in here and actually get a little bit of damage, but you can see here the Ancient Salamander getting some huge burst damage, so it's not going too good, Bob. You can see here that my Marauders on the low ground are just getting roasted by the Hunting Packs. Now the other Salamanders are going to be just dropping some hot fire, just doing some beats, and oh man, that is devastating stuff. The Hell Cannon is kind of getting a little bit emasculated here. Granted, I do get a charge with Chaos Chariots and also a Fate of Unit into the Saurus. I'm really just trying to melt through his front line right here, but Nonetheless, my Marauders are having a really bad time, not going very well, and you know, we're trying our best. Though we are getting some damage back on the Powhawks and Sentinels, my Marauder Horsemen throwing axes have gotten some pretty good value, and all it really takes is Kolek getting a good jump on something. But in the back, the Colossadon Hunters do feign a charge, but they decide to kind of pull out at the last second. That's what she said. And up on the high ground, it's actually going a little bit better for Chaos. So the Chaos Marauders all 100% health up here. We break through the Skinks on the flank, we break through the Source in the middle, and now we're into the back line, and we are getting pressure on the Hunting Packs, which is going to be good. Now, Kolek has taken some damage. Tiqtaq'to has been very patient up in the skies, hasn't really jumped in, but he's going to be going in here, and I guess I got a little bit overconfident here with big old Kolek, because, you know, the Colossadon Hunters are nearby. There's a lot of, you know, powerful Lizardmen troops here, and Tiqtaq'to is quite the duelist when he pops his buffs. So he has, 104 melee defense, 55 melee attack. He's just tanky right now. So I'm being taken to town by the Colossadon Hunters. The other Shaggoth is going to be coming in as well, and we're going to get some damage back. You can see a couple attacks do kill some Colossadon models. All my Marauders are going to be piling in, but the Bounce Bar is pretty much dead even. And the Chariots are doing a really good job of getting in the back line. We actually pretty much break up the Salamander Hunting Pack here, and from there we're just going to be sweeping into the back line, jumping on top of the Umbral Tide and some of these other troops, and hopefully it'll go well. Now, this was pretty bad. Kolek did get broken. The other Dragon Ogre Shaggoth was able to do some good damage, but nonetheless, Kolek's broken, and that's what's good about Tiqtaq'to. If you can get an Alpha Strike, you can chase things off the battlefield very easily. He's very quick. And yeah, very good play here from King of the Dead. Now, the Bounce Bar is actually in my favor a little bit. The ground fighting is actually turned and going pretty well for Chaos. Our Hell Cannon in the back is still shooting. We also do have some Chaos Warriors with halberds that we can pull in if we need to. So we're probably going to end up pulling those guys into the front fight. And you can see here the Shaggoth plus these other troops have really pressured the Umbral Tide. And I believe the other Ancient Salamanders or the other Salamander Hunting Pack got pushed up into the hills here. So they have 14 models and they are not in the best shape. So Bounce Bar is pretty even, although I couldn't really understand why. I mean, he does have the Manticore summon, which when that thing goes away here in a couple seconds, of course, the new summon units do disappear at a hard time limit. They have a hard cap now, so it's not going to be incremental damage they take. I mean, I think they still take a little bit, but it's basically just a big disintegration. So you can see here the Manticore is going to be dying in a couple seconds, and that's certainly going to help the Bounce Power. And you can see it does ebb in my favor a little bit here. So Chaos actually somehow, some way is still in this game, and I think that's because this Dragon Ogre Shaggoth is very healthy. And the Powhawks Sentinels are pretty beat up, the Colossadon Hunters are pretty beat up, and Tiqtaq'tos as well. My opponent, King of the Dead, doing a very good job with the Skink Priest with the Lore Beast, chasing Kolek off the battlefield. So as soon as you break something, no matter how powerful it is, if you could just get the worst unit to chase it off, that is like always good. So getting something you don't really need in the battle is going to be solid. Now we do have a pit fight. It's going to be some Chaos Marauders and Dragon Ogre Shaggoth facing off against the might of the Lizardmen Air Force. So the Powhawks and Sentinels, Tiqtaq'to, the cohort of Sotek in here still fighting and doing a very good job, up to 85 kills. Are starting to put a bit of a hurt here on this Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. That boy Tiqtaq'to is quite tough to take down with this 100 melee defense. So maybe it was a bit of a mistake. I was really trying to target him and just like goon him out to kind of break, because I knew he was giving all these buffs to the nearby troops. I was like, let's break him, let's see if we can. And, you know, maybe it'll go from there. But, you know, all it takes is this Dragon Ogre Shaggoth breaking. I don't know why he broke. He's at about half health. I mean, yes, it was a relatively bad situation, but he had some support. But yeah, I guess the burst damage was good enough from the dinosaur, so he breaks him. And from here, he's easily going to be able to chase this guy off the battlefield. Now, the Bounce Fire, like I said, was in my favor, and I don't know how. But I guess it's because I have these halberds back here. I also have the Hell Cannon, and my Deathcaster is okay. But I feel like the Lizardmen just had so much stuff left. So the Hell Cannon just getting its wild blast into the Powhawks and Sentinels. I'm really just trying to hit whatever I can at this point. Not too many good targets for the Hell Cannon this entire game, but the Shaggoth is going to be getting chased off the battlefield by Tiqtaq'to, so he is not going to be coming back. And of course the Colossadon Hunters are on the hunt. My Chariots are relatively broken. I do have my Deathcaster here, and the Halberds are going to be able to put up a bit of a last stand. He doesn't have too many troops that are good against Halberds. I mean, the Ancient Salamander is not going to be great. He's out of ammo. The Hunting Packs, I guess, have some ammo left. Umbral Tide has 11 units left. Yeah, 11 models, and it looks like he still has 9 volleys, so that could be pretty nasty as well. But we're going to get the Deathcaster going in there, but he does get punted, so he's not having a good time at all. And the Powhawks and Sentinels going to be going back there to butter the bread of this Hell Cannon, but that's not a big deal. It's already out of ammo. And now you can see for the first time in the game, the Bounce Bar does go in the favor of the dinosaurs, as that Dragon Ogre Shaggoth is going to be getting chased off the battlefield. Now, if this Shaggoth came back and was able to fight with the Halberds, I think I would have a pretty good chance of winning the game. But the fact that he got separated, and Tiqtaq'to just being such a little troll here in the skies, the master of the sky, staying true to his name, just hunting the big dinosaurs, which is pretty heavy metal. Definitely some very cool stuff here. Tiqtaq'to doing his job, and just in case the Shaggoth does come back, the Colossadon Hunters are nearby. Deathcaster's having a pretty bad time, but nonetheless, these Halberds are able to actually beat down the Saurus Warriors here, which is quite good. Flock of Doom coming down from my opponent's Beastcaster. Going to be doing some okay damage, not too great against these troops, but nonetheless, it still does some work. So we'll do some fast forwarding here, as the Deathcaster does actually have like this glorious pit fight with the Salamander and starts to like win it. He's like starting to turn the tide a little bit and do some damage back. We get a Spirit Leech, we get a ton of like damage with the Halberds on top of that guy. So I was like, okay, maybe I can form a bit of a Helm's Deep here, but another overcasted Flock of Doom plus the Salamander Hunting Packs coming back, the Umbral Tide and these other troops, that's going to be all she wrote, as my army does get slapped with army losses. So Oh man, that was a crazy game. Now my build was 100% centered around Temple Guard and things like that, so I didn't really have a prepared build against you know, what he brought with his massive Air Force and Salamanders and things like that. So I mean, he caught me off guard for sure. I was so used to facing off against Temple Guard and just those Lizardmen Death Stars with big monsters that I kind of like forgot about Tiqtaq'to in the Air Force game, and it was actually really good. And he did a super solid job of just picking things off, chasing him off the battlefield, being very methodical. So solid play by King of the Dead there. It was beautiful stuff. Now, on that note, you do have to respect that style of play. So a build like this would be very good against Temple Guard, in my opinion. But if you do end up facing something else, you're probably going to have a really hard time because I just didn't have the tools to deal with a lot of the mobility and different things like that. So, and I made some huge mistakes. Letting Kolek and the other guys get caught out, I mean, that was just a huge fault of mine. Maybe had I kept them tighter, I could have pulled the game out. But I think there are a couple adjustments that I could make to this build that would be a little bit helpful. So on that note, we'll go ahead and take a look. Very well played to King of the Dead. Badass army. I'm glad he got to showcase Tiqtaq'to here on the channel. Make sure to check him out over on Twitch. There'll be a link in the comment section below. Now let's go ahead and take a look at a more well-rounded Chaos build. So the Hell Cannon is pretty good against Temple Guard. I think it's still worth bringing. I mean, it still does some pretty good pounding damage against like swords and things like that. So let's go ahead and take a look. I still think Kolek's going to be a very good choice. He's really, really just like a heavy-duty bully. And you know, Lore of Death, especially since dinosaurs don't have the same healing, is really good. Now, as far as other spells, the leadership stuff isn't going to be super nice. I mean, the Fate of Buna could be good against Temple Guard as well, so just going there. But more than likely, you're just going to be using the what's it called, the Spear Leeches and things like that. Now, Chaos Warriors with great weapons. My problem with them is that like Ancient Salamanders, you're just going to kind of pound them. Like there's dinos like high mass monsters. I think it's going like cheaper. It seemed to work pretty well for me with like these guys, but I think going with like 3 of them, mixing in a couple standard Marauders who do have shields to kind of, you know, deal with skirmishing stuff might be a little bit better. From there, do we need some decent infantry? I mean, the Halberd in the back defending the Hell Cannon is pretty good. A cheapo Hell Cannon should do the trick if you want to still deal with Temple Guard, so you get a Halberd as well. And now we mix in a couple of the Marauder Horsemasters. I think these guys are pretty damn good. And they still do really good damage against big targets. Now, do we go with 3 of them and cut the second Dragon Ogre Shag? The problem then becomes if they like overload with like a bunch of big stuff, Kolek might not be able to handle it on his own. So Summoners of Rage might be a little bit of a better choice. Like they won't get alpha struck quite as quickly by like the big flying dinos and stuff. So if we go with something like this, we have 3 Marauder Horsemasters, we have a little bit of an infantry corps, the Hell Cannon, and this could probably deal with Temple Guard, especially with Lore of Death, so you're not going to have to worry about that. We have enough anti-large here with the Summoners of Rage and Kolek, and now Marauder Horsemasters are going to be super good against Tiqtaq'to and those other guys, so I think we're onto something here. I think this might be a bit of a better build, although we don't have the Chariots now, so we're going to have to rely on... the Hell Cannon just really kind of puts a wrench in like so much because it's so damn expensive. I guess we could cut 1 Halberd in the back. Because, I mean, I guess we could just, like, leave some Marauders back there to kind of defend it. And, I mean, if we see something, we have some mobile troops who can go back and screen. So, yeah, I think we could probably just leave a Marauder back there to defend it. And from here, we could probably just get, like, 1 of these Chariots or something. That could probably be fine. We don't have quite enough. If I could actually, like, save a little bit of money. Deathcaster, we get rid of Evasion. We don't really need that too much. And then we can get another one of these guys to defend the Hell Cannon. I think that could be okay. So, try it out, guys. Let me know what you think. And it's a little bit micro-intensive, but nonetheless, I think it'll be pretty well-rounded against most dinosaur builds. So thanks again for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.